It is normal for lay Catholics to know that they have a vocation, mission in life, primarily in the secular world, given to them by God. It is normal for lay Catholics to be actively engaged in discerning and living this vocation. Normal is a loaded word. We all want to be normal, or we want to be anything but normal. But the word itself is completely subjective. Normal depends on what I think normal is. Normal changes as I age, as generations come and go, as I come to know myself ever better. The normal of a 12-year-old is not the normal of a baby, or a 5-year-old, or a 30-year-old, or a 70-year-old. Normal is in a constant state of flux. For those who proclaim to be normal, for those searching for normal, and for those avoiding normal. And until the end of ordinary time, we are going to be reflecting on normal. In the bulletin, you will find the 7 normal statements in the weeks that we're going to look at them. They're not in order. I'm sorry, the readings match them in a different way. Today we're looking at number 5. This week the readings are all about marriage, and we're going to reflect on vocation. In the 17 years that I've been a priest, I am invited to regularly share my vocation story. Truth be told, it isn't all that impressive. There wasn't any bright lights or voices from heaven or strange miraculous happenstance. I just stayed. I made a promise to myself as I entered seminary to give it 3 years until after my internship, which Providence would have here at St. Mary's with Monsignor Joe. I never realized I'd be his pastor. And after that promise, I made a second promise after a friend and a classmate left the seminary in the middle of the night, to not leave in the middle of the night. They talk about you when you leave in the middle of the night. 2 simple promises that have served me well. Truth be told, there have been moments in the middle of the night that I wanted to pack up my things and move to Canada, but I promised to not leave in the middle of the night. And I can't remember a time that I wanted to run away in the middle of the day, except whenever I was a child running away from home, after Mama packed me a sandwich and told me not to cross the street. I came home, much to her relief, after walking around the block for an hour or so. It was a good sandwich. Discernment of vocation, either as clergy, married couple, religious, single person, or professed religious, is an active process. It means that I weigh out carefully my options, my longings, my hopes, my fears, my gifts, my struggles, everything really. There is nothing that will bring me more joy. There is nothing that will bring more joy and peace to a person than to know in the depths of their being that they are who they are called to be. Whether that be husband or wife, brother or sister, clergy or religious, or single person living in the world. To intimately know who I am supposed to be, who I have been called to be, who I am in the eyes of God. This discernment of vocation is more than finding the state of life that I am called to be. It is also how I live that life. I love teaching, and I am a good teacher. It is one of my gifts. And while on sabbatical, I really enjoyed living at the seminary with the Sulpicians, a religious association of diocesan priests that dedicate their lives and their ministry to teaching and forming young seminarians into priests in seminaries. In the United States, they're in several places, in San Antonio, Washington, D.C., Baltimore. Within my time at St. Mary's in Baltimore, several of the men there that I lived with suggested that I should consider joining them. And so I did. And I loved my time in seminary as a student. I loved study and I loved teaching. Perhaps this was just a normal outgrowth of my vocation as priest. And while walking the Camino, this was the major source of my prayer. What will I do when I return? Is God calling me to a different way of living priesthood as a teacher, not as a pastor? And when I returned, I visited with Bishop Zurich, and he gave me permission to consider this more and to investigate more, and I did. For a year, I let my close friends know, a few parishioners know, and my family know. And the longer I prayed and the longer I discerned, the more I knew that I belonged in the Diocese of Amarillo. Oh, I would have loved being on faculty in Baltimore. I would have filled a need there. I would have enjoyed being a member of a religious order, and I would have done well. And perhaps that call within a call would have satisfied my soul, but it wasn't to be. I would have eventually become bored with the day in and day out life of a teacher. I would have missed and longed for all the wonders of your craziness being a pastor. I would have found fulfillment, but my life would not be settled. I would have asked way too many questions about what I was missing, and I would have ceased to be full. As a church, we spend a lot of time helping people find their life's vocation. We prepare and support them for marriage. We prepare and support them for priesthood. We prepare and support them for religious life. And unfortunately, we often forget to prepare and support them for a life of being single. But I am not sure that we prepare and support people to use their gifts in the world. We talk about church ministries such as catechists and liturgical ministries, and leading committees, and working in teams, and going to meetings, lots of meetings. And this is all well and good. But every single person here, from the newborn to the closest to their eternal reward, have each been given spiritual gifts and a longing of the heart and a definite desire to make changes for the world in awesome ways that no other person can accomplish. St. Augustine says it best: as a Christian, I am with you, and as a bishop, I am for you. Vocations are never just about the person who lives theirs. Vocations are given by God for the building up of the people of God, the church, and the community that surrounds the church in need of an encounter with Jesus Christ. The truth of the matter is that the majority of the work of the church does not happen on a church's campus. Here we support and pray for and prepare you to change the out there. And if you think that the church is slow to change, try changing the out there. The out there seems to change rapidly, but it doesn't. The expressions of the old hurts may change, but their roots never do, because greed and illness and oppression are still around. People are still selfish and prideful. Some suffer for their own poor decisions, and others suffer the effects of someone else's poor decision. And people are not problems to be solved. They are solutions waiting to be realized. As much as we together see and identify problems, we are also part of their solutions. Our vocations are part of the solution. Our good and gracious God, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, has given us all we need to help be a solution to a need. Have you thought about that thing, that situation, that trouble that touches your heart and causes your eyes to water? You have the gifts necessary to help realize a solution to that situation. How is God inviting you today to use who you are to make life better? It is normal for God to use you and your individual, unrepeatable spiritual gifts to change the world. And He will give you the grace to do just that.